All right, let's jump right in, shall we? Today we're going to take a deep dive into some really exciting research about cancer and exercise.
Sounds intriguing. What have you got for us?
Well, there's this recent study. It was published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, and it followed nearly 28,250 people in South Africa.
Wow, that's a pretty big study.
Yeah, it is. And they were all diagnosed with stage 1 cancer. What's really remarkable is that even small amounts of exercise, like really small amounts, had a big impact on how they did, their outcomes.
So it really does challenge that idea that you have to be running marathons to see benefits.
Exactly. Even moderate exercise could make a big difference.
I'm definitely interested to hear more.
So this study followed those individuals for an impressive amount of time.
Oh, how long are we talking?
From 2007 to 2022, so a good long time. And they used data from a health promotion program.
Okay, so what? They had access to like really detailed records of what people were doing.
Yeah, their activity levels, going way beyond just asking people, hey, how much did you exercise this week? Because let's be honest, we're not always the best at remembering those things.
Yeah, self-reporting can be a little iffy sometimes. So with this program, they were able to really track what was going on.
Absolutely. They could see not just if people were active, but also the types of activities they were doing, how often they did them, and how intense those activities were.
So they weren't just lumping everyone who moved into one big active group.
Right. And that allowed them to categorize people into 3 groups.
Inactive, I'm guessing?
Yep. Inactive, low activity, and moderate to high activity.
Smart. Makes sense. So what did they find when they compared these groups? I'm guessing this is where things get interesting.
Oh, yeah, this is where it gets good.
All right, lay it on me.
So compared to those who were inactive, even the low activity group, those folks doing up to 60 minutes of exercise a week, they saw their chances of their cancer getting worse, so disease progression, dropped by 16%.
16%, huh? That's nothing to sneeze at.
Definitely not. And the group doing 60 minutes or more of moderate intensity exercise every week, even bigger reduction, 27% lower risk of their cancer progressing.
Wow. So even a little bit of effort can make a real difference.
Right. And what really jumped out at me were the numbers on overall survival.
Oh, yeah. Fill me in.
Basically, even a little exercise could significantly bump up your chances of survival.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So the low activity group, their risk of dying from any cause went down by 33%, and the moderate to high activity group, they saw an incredible 47% reduction in their mortality risk.
Hold on, 47%. That's a massive.
It really is. We're not just talking about living a little longer. It's potentially adding years to your life just by getting a bit more active.
Wow. Makes you wonder how exercise has that kind of impact on cancer.
Right. What's going on in the body that makes such a difference?
Well, they think there are probably a few different mechanisms at play. But one of the key things is the immune system. We know that exercise can help boost those natural defenses, right?
So you're saying physical activity could actually be helping your body fight off cancer cells more effectively?
Exactly. Studies have shown that exercise can increase both the number and the activity of certain immune cells. Things like natural killer cells, which, they're kind of the front line when it comes to recognizing and destroying cancer cells.
So it's almost like exercise turns your body into a more efficient cancer-fighting machine.
That's a good way to put it.
Fascinating. So are there other ways that exercise might be working against cancer progression besides these boosted immune cells?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they found that for some cancers, particularly the hormone-sensitive ones, like breast and prostate cancer, exercise can actually help regulate those hormone levels, and that can really impact how fast a tumor might grow.
Oh, that makes sense. Now, this study, they had a pretty large group of people with breast and prostate cancer, right? Did they pick those cancers specifically, or is there something else going on there?
Well, the study actually looked at a wide range of cancers. It is kind of interesting, though, that those two types were so well represented. I mean, the fact that both are hormone sensitive and they both showed some pretty significant improvement with exercise, it does make you think, maybe hormone regulation plays a bigger role in how cancer progresses than we thought.
Yeah, maybe exercise is helping to keep those hormone levels in check so the tumors don't grow as quickly. Is there anything else about these results that really caught your attention?
One thing that really stood out to me was that people didn't have to be super active to get benefits. Like, even those who were just moderately active, they still saw improvements.
So you're saying even if you're not hitting the gym every day, just incorporating a little more movement into your routine, it could really make a difference.
Exactly. It could be as simple as, taking a brisk walk for half an hour a few times a week,
Yeah.
or even gardening. It doesn't have to be some crazy workout or take up tons of time.
I bet that's encouraging for people to hear, especially anyone who's just been diagnosed with cancer. It can feel pretty overwhelming, right?
Definitely. It's all about making changes that you can actually stick with, over time. Nobody's expecting you to become an athlete overnight. It's more about finding ways to move that you actually enjoy, things that fit into your life.
It all sounds pretty promising, but I'm sure there's some things we need to be cautious about too, right? Like, are there any limitations with this study we should keep in mind?
Right, good point. It's important to remember this was an observational study. So what we're seeing is a strong connection between exercise and better outcomes. But, we can't say for sure that exercise was the direct cause. There might have been other things going on that they couldn't account for.
So the results are definitely exciting, but we do need more research to really nail down that cause and effect. Anything else to consider when we're thinking about these findings?
Well, everyone is different. What works for one person might not work for another. It's always best to talk to your doctor to figure out what kind of exercise is right for you and how much you should be doing, especially if you're going through cancer treatment.
Makes sense. So while the study does give us a lot of hope, it's not like a magic bullet or anything. We still need that individualized guidance.
Absolutely. And it's worth pointing out that this study focused specifically on people with stage 1 cancer. We still need more research to figure out how exercise impacts later stages of the disease.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Are there any other areas where more research would be helpful?
Yeah, I think it would be great to see more studies looking at which types of exercise might be best for specific types of cancer. And also, it would be really useful to understand how exercise interacts with other treatments, like chemotherapy or radiation.
So there's still a lot to learn, but this study definitely lays a strong foundation for future research. Gives us all something to think about in terms of how we approach our own health.
For sure. It really highlights how important it is to take charge of our own well-being. Even small changes to our lifestyle can have a big impact on how things turn out for us health-wise.
It really feels like we're starting to see a shift, how we think about exercise. It's not just about staying fit or losing weight anymore. It can be a powerful tool to prevent and manage some really serious diseases, like cancer.
Yeah, it's like we're rediscovering this connection between moving our bodies and, well, just feeling good. Like maybe we lost sight of that for a while.
It's true. Our bodies are meant to move, and that movement keeps everything running smoothly.
Exactly. And this study, it really shows us that embracing movement can have a big impact on our health, even when we're dealing with something as serious as cancer.
So where do we go from here? We've covered a lot today, from the study's specific findings to what it all means for how we think about exercise and its role in our health. What would you say are the key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that this study offers real hope. It shows us that even with a cancer diagnosis, we can take steps that might improve how things turn out. And those steps don't have to be huge or overwhelming.
So it's not about suddenly becoming a marathon runner or living at the gym.
Right. It's about finding ways to move a little more each day, things we can actually stick with.
Maybe taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or walking or biking to work a few times a week, or just looking for more chances to move around throughout the day.
Exactly. And the best part, exercise has so many other benefits besides its impact on cancer. It can help us feel happier, have more energy, sleep better, even think more clearly.
So it's a win-win all around. Good for our bodies and our minds.
Exactly. And I think this study really reminds us that we're not just along for the ride when it comes to our health. We have the power to make choices that can really make a difference. And getting regular exercise, even a moderate amount, that's one of the most powerful choices we can make.
It's about taking control, shaping our own health. That's a message worth spreading.
Couldn't agree more. It's a message of hope, of realizing just how strong our bodies can be.
Well said. And with that, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the connection between light exercise and cancer progression risks. As always, we encourage you to explore this topic further, maybe do some more reading, and talk to your doctor about any questions you have. Thanks for joining us today.